Anyways, I did let the game run a little bit while I was prepping for stream and all that. Just that way, some of the stuff we were waiting on just to be produced, that hopefully it would. And I am hoping we'll be able to knock some of this stuff out. Because that's just a waiting game there. Off stream, I've actually been... I think that was still at 48 the last I looked. Let's check on the radio control units to make sure something didn't break there. But, that's honestly one of the things that, I've already lost my train of thought, so just never mind. Okay. So, where were we making the remote control units? Those were over here, if I remember correctly. But yeah, for those who missed where we left off, we have been expanding the factory for... Oh, no, it's over there. For Phase 4. Because we are producing those first 2 sets of goods. And we're just moving things along. We do have the drones as a thing we can build. I believe I need to set up production for... Oh, hey, we actually have... a lot of those. We do actually have... Oh, Tiny Glade? I've heard good things about Tiny Glade. I need to check that one out still. But, we have unlocked drones. The issue I've run into with the drones is the advantage of drones, you don't have to lay track. My understanding, though, is the other side of drones is that they consume batteries. So instead of having, like, fuel, like coal or whatever you put in them, they have to put batteries in. You have to manufacture the batteries. So I do need to set up battery production, and I just haven't done that yet. Okay, so you're making... I remember what they're called. So you're the rods. You're the AI limiters. Was it over here? I'm trying to remember for the life of me where we were making the radio control units. That's the circuit boards, which seems to be woefully inadequate. Those are the supercomputers. That's the high-speed connectors. Oh, and then it was computers over here. Which looks like it's struggling with the circuit boards now. Let's go ahead and drop the sloops in here, because the computers are a big bottleneck. So just do that for right now. Since we are running out of circuit boards, I'm going to take the slugs back. That's the adaptive cores. Where was I doing that? Was it over here? No, I don't have anything over here. Somewhere in here, I am making... Okay, so it was a... Let's double check, because if I double check what it takes, we can probably figure out where that was. So... Computers, oscillators... Ah, that's right, we put them over by the oscillators. That's right. Yeah, no, I can put map markers on, I just haven't. Okay, meanwhile, I've got enough of those to finish it. You can drop off a couple more of these. And we've completed the first of the items for Phase 4. I also just remembered I'm sitting on a giant mountain of hard drives. Because we did go hard drive hunting a lot yesterday. Alright, so we have the tempered caterium, which is coal and caterium ore to make ingots. So it's caterium quick wire, and you produce 3 per minute. So caterium quick wire, silica, and the circuit boards versus the current one is... So it's replacing cable with silica. I'm gonna grab that. I may not use in the short term, but if we were to switch off our aluminum production to not use silica anymore, I would have a giant mountain of silica that I could use in place. So that could be a good one for us. And I also had this one, which is encased industrial pipe. which is interesting. And this I don't care about. So that's 4 per minute for encased industrial, and it's 6 to 1. That seems like a pretty terrible ratio. Oh wait, no, that's right. You get pipe, steel pipe, you get a much better rate than steel bars. I didn't check. What is your throughput? 6 per minute? Alright, Nitor, you take it easy. So it seems like I might save slightly on steel and slightly on concrete for this. I'm gonna rescan. Okay, then we got the iron ingot steel pipes. We could also get the tempered copper ingots where we get just more copper bars out much faster. I'll go ahead and get the iron pipe. Okay, so now I've got that. Let's see here. Oh, I forgot with all the nodes showing, this gets to be pretty busy. So let's hide that off the map right now. I can go ahead and delete that marker. That's unnecessary. So we were doing this here. Where did I bring the crystal oscillators? Because I got a couple markers, like oil production's down here, Caterium wires up here, my steel's up here. Like, I need to actually mark these things better. Were the crystal oscillators up here? I know my aluminum production's up here. Let's just go over there. And that needs the heat sinks. Take any time away and you forget everything. I want to say, well, no. No, was it down here? Because I think it may have been down here. Well, we already know it needs the aluminum casing. This is how we can figure it out with, like, guaranteed figure it out. We can go up here to where we're doing our aluminum casings. We can check the railroad track and then run from that railroad track over. You friendo? You friendo or you sado? It was sad. I pet it and I scared it. Hey, thank you for the industrial encased bars, buddy. Alright. But so the immediate priority is to figure out what's going on with those control units, because that's going to be an issue. Oh, and if you didn't see since the last time we played, we now have explosive rebar, and it feels like cheating. I love it. It's wonderful. Need trees out of the way? Boom. Trees are gone. Need creatures out of the way? Boom. Is there a trick to finding the doggos you tamed? They generally stick to roughly the same areas. You can get them to go different places and they'll wander a little bit, but I found I have to kind of go back to where I tamed them and all that, and I'll usually find them somewhere around there. That said, a lot of people... I've seen people who what they'll do is they'll tame the dogs, and they'll follow you for a little while after you feed them. And so what they'll do is they will tame the dog, get it to go to a specific spot, and then like wall it in. Is there any chance the rifle with explosive rounds would be as good or better? Maybe. Generally speaking, I've been the most impressed with this thing. Yeah, exactly, kettling the doggos. Basically getting them to an area and then like containing them into a little box or whatever, just so they can't wander around. You can make it a bigger box, but you get the idea. Yeah, and I got the turbo rounds. I didn't get the smart rounds in the other one. And to me, the turbo rounds just felt like, what if I used even more material faster? Like, they're good. Like, damage per second, they're effective. I don't want to say they're not. But to me, I found it a much less enjoyable thing. What is going on? What? We should be at a huge deficit in water. How do you keep backing up? Like, it shouldn't even be a little deficit. We should be getting like 60 meters cubed lower. Because I took this one and I pulled all the slugs out of it. We're just gonna pull a slug out of this one too. Yeah, because that consumes 180 per minute. 180, 360, 720. So we are consuming 720 water, meters cubed of water per minute. And then these produce 240 between them. 720, minus 240. Which is like 480. And then we got 240. 120. Well, actually, no. That makes it about even. Math is hard. Okay, so that was the reason our casings, why I was like, oh, something's wrong. We're not getting our remote control units. That would be why. We weren't getting our remote control units because our aluminum got stuck. Let's see what we can do to actually fix that long term. Like, so that just a simple miscalculation doesn't screw everything. I don't want to bottle the water and sink it because that becomes a huge strain on making the bottles. And I don't think there's any type of meaningful logic I can do with the stuff here. I wonder if there's something I could do with the valves. Because I know the valves, I can limit the flow of water. But that's what I'm trying to think about is the best way to deal with it. And that puts out the alumina solution. And that consumes the alumina solution and gives us water and spits out aluminum scrap. And we have the same issue there where the alumina solution, there isn't, like, it'd be kind of a fitting thing for the game, but also a messed up thing, to have a pressure release valve, which for those who don't know what that is, that's when the thing gets overpressure. It's a valve that pops and then starts, you know, putting out whatever's contained. You know, put like a pressure release valve for alumina right here into the river and just completely kill the planet by dumping liquefied metal into the water. It's fine. Besides, do we look like the kind of people who would care? Okay, this is interesting. Ah, that's probably our issue. Okay, I understand why we keep having it. All my calculations are wrong because I'm not quite getting enough bauxite through all of this to keep everything running. And as a result of that, I am not running everything at capacity. So where it says it consumes 120 meters cubed per minute, it's not actually consuming that much because not all of them are running at full speed. So let's see with the faster belts if that helps. Because I wanna get this thing running solid. Yeah, so that appears to be, yeah, so it is keeping up. So that should fix our problem. That we're now consuming the water fast enough. And that should be putting out enough of this. Let's check the outputs and inputs here. So we've got 120 per minute, 240, so that's 480 between all of those. Are you consuming 480? You should be. So that should be balanced there. Except, I am noticing that these are stopping occasionally because the aluminum scrap isn't getting out of the way fast enough. Yeah, and this is another belt throughput problem. Alright. Okay, so in theory, that should do a lot to fix our aluminum for now. We had a couple places where the belts themselves were becoming a bottleneck, and as a result, it was causing a lot of things to not keep operating. And are these actually ticking down? Yeah, so 360 per minute. No, those are staying full. You know, I think that's right. I was trying to determine if it looked like there was a section of belt that was not upgraded. Because that happens sometimes when you use the stilts. You'll get like a little teeny tiny itty bitty section of belt that's... Ah, there was a section that wasn't upgraded. I thought it was like something felt off, that these should be going better. Okay. So we want to see happen... Okay. They do want to see this going at speed. There's still something wrong. And the reason I could say that... Oh, you know what? It's going to be right here. There's going to be a tiny section of belt right there. There's our problem. Now we should see these going down. Because these belts should be able to handle way more than enough. What is the belt here able to handle again? 780. And that's 360. So that should only produce 720. I should have a gap of about 60 meters, or 60 items with the belt's throughput. But it does seem like there's still a slowdown here somewhere. Yeah, it seems to be going at the same pace. That's not what I meant to do. Let's rerun this real fast and see if we got like a little tiny section of... There we go. Yeah, there was definitely something that was, like, appearing off. Cool. There we go. That is moving noticeably faster. Let's see, those tiny belts are the worst. Even more so than lifts, and lifts combined with walls and conveyor holes and all that. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. I do wish there was a thing where it was kind of smart enough to notice when, like when I have like a bunch of mini segments of belts, just as like an optimization, it would just make it into one belt. So what should happen is over time, we should see this go down. It's going to take a little while to catch up. And that this should improve the throughput of our aluminum here, because these will start topping off, because now they're getting a considerably larger amount of aluminum scrap in there. Let me guess. The silica is going to be my next problem. Let's go ahead and jump on that. Okay, so we've got the silica, has better conveyors to it. Yeah, upgrade. I could also go for that. That's not a bad idea. Like Alex mentioning over on YouTube, saying that it would be nice if you could go to a belt and just basically say, upgrade this whole line. And, you know, it'd probably take a moment to do the calculation where it'd be like, okay, you're about to upgrade, you know, you're about to upgrade several thousand units worth of belt. Like, have it as one of these where it says defaulted straight, just have, like, for an upgrade thing. Okay, so that looks better. It's now solid with silica. That's going at full speed. We're seeing a lot of these are remaining fairly solid with the aluminum scrap. Not all of them are getting enough aluminum scrap yet, but that's okay. We're getting there. Yeah, so these are actually starting to drain. Okay, but it's getting backed up on water now, which it shouldn't be. We'll figure that out. So we're gonna go over here. I'm gonna yoink another one of these. Because we shouldn't see this go up that much. Like, it should go up a couple, like, maybe 100 or 2 meters cubed as all, like, those machines that were backed up dump their water onto the system. But very quickly, it should go. You know what we could also do to help this? Something that'll help a lot, actually. Let's get our valve. Oh, I already have a valve here. I was going to say, have a valve over here to keep the water flow only going out of this reservoir. Because this is the area where when it backs up, the whole thing shuts down. But I guess that didn't make that much of a difference. Yeah, so the bauxite is now doing well. You're now short on water to run, which I can live with a little bit, because that's producing this, which is now actually draining. That is going up a little bit here and there. All right. So that'll probably be a problem soon. Because it is definitely just draining now. At least with the draining, it won't stop producing. It'll just slow down production. Yeah, because you're getting enough water. You're not getting nearly enough water. You're not getting nearly enough water. You're not... Alright, that's so weird. Put you back in, crank you up again. Okay. Yeah, so we've got the aluminum going through at a pretty good rate. Yep, and all of our aluminum sheets are now being produced just fine. That's all backed up. Not quite enough to keep this backed up yet. That's because it has the whole train station that's moving it on to the next stop. I'm just trying to keep an eye on this real fast to see if we've actually solved the water problem. Because this shouldn't fill up much. That's what's confusing me about this. Is with the valve, any of our water over there, that part of the system could get pressurized. But it should take a lot for this to fill up. Whereas meanwhile... Okay, you're getting enough water to stay functional. You're barely getting enough water to stay functional. You are not running anywhere near capacity. And you're not getting enough water to run at capacity. So these are all slowing down, and the alumina solution is just draining. So we're not getting enough water in the system. Okay, so we've got a valve here. I'm going to pick it up in case it's facing the wrong way, and we're going to redo it. So there's the valve facing that way. That should make it so the water flows through that way. I'm going to put a valve facing that way as well here. So that the water should drain from this pipe. Why are you absolutely full? What? Yeah, no, that... Let's say you said you were destroying everything to fix your storage issue, and you were right, I didn't. I did multiply 5 times my oil production, though. Exactly. It's those things where you'd be like, I'm gonna change all this. Like, no, you're not. You might want to. Full pipes is good, it means flowing. Check the bottom left. Yeah, the bottom left has been going up and down. That's fine. The bigger concern is this is just slowly filling up. And now we don't want. If that fills up, then we can't get the water out of those and the whole thing shuts down. And so we should be running on a deficit of water, and that's what's been confusing. Meanwhile, over here, on the other side of this, we're getting not... Well, I mean, we're getting okay flow right here, actually, now I look at it. But we're not getting it here for the most part. Why is it not continuing on? There's no elevation boosts. They're clearly connected. It is undulating to show that it is going this way. Now that's full there. But over here, it's like nothing. Yeah, the valves should be open. Because, like, I can open and close them. What's this game called? This game's called Satisfactory. You had to redo one joint and it fixed everything. So we're thinking it's just like some bug with like some joint here. That apparently was it. Because now that valve is absolutely maxing out. And now these pipes are filling up with water as opposed to depleting. Maybe in a pumps don't deal with flow. Pumps are for head lift. Like that's the thing that these literally don't help with flow. They help with head lift. So it's only when you're going up do you need a pump. You used a pump for flow? it shouldn't work. In real life, it works, but in the game, it's for head lift. Yeah, so you're gaining water now. Like, the only time pump should help with flow is if you're countering head lift. Okay, I think it's working now. And congratulations on the 230 stream streak there, Luxray. Catch the last 230 streams without missing a single one. I really do appreciate that. So yeah, so this thing is just not going up very much, which is good. So let's double check our numbers. 120, 240, that's output. So we have output of 240. This is 720 between the four of them. 240 minus 720, that's like 480. 480 minus 300 is 180. So we should be at a deficit of 60 water per minute cubed. So these should ever so slightly run at under 100%. Just slightly. Once whatever's in the system starts to run out and all that. And I believe that means this shouldn't overfill at any point either. It should kind of ping pong back and forth. And then you over here, I think we're good now. So I think it was literally just there was some like junction union, whatever you want to call it, was bugged, and as a result of that, the water flow just wasn't doing what it needed to do. All right, so now back to what we were checking, which actually, if I check here now, I bet you were going to see those things are producing. Yeah, they're producing again. That's good. So yeah, so we just had our aluminum got broke a thing. Right. Just want to tell you, do you play Roblox? No. I have nothing against Roblox, but it's just not something that interests me. All right. But yeah, no, if you look at the actual stats in the game for the pumps, it literally says maximum head lift 20. That's what it does. Have you gotten the hover round? Oh, you mean the hover thing as opposed to jetpack? Yeah, it's in my storage here. Because you can only equip a jetpack or this, so it's right down there, the hover pack. But I haven't been using it that much because just I get the better fuel now. So I've just been using that. And we haven't been making buildings that are tall that really justify my using it. Okay, so we're clearly making... Here we go. You're making the oscillating crystal whatevers. We've got a surplus of them. So you are producing at capacity, it's just... We're not making them that fast. It's slightly... Well, actually, it's only 3 ingredients. That'll probably work. Alright. You go here, get the oscillating whatever that is. Plug it in. And then with that, we will double our remote control unit production. Okay. So now I should be able to return to... Oh, here, one thing we can do real fast is... So you're making our oscillating crystals. Yes, that's what this whole area is. Oh, you know what? I think this whole area is literally just for the oscillating crystals. What are you shy on? Reinforced plates. Fair enough. Is this my reinforced? Right, that's right. We're using the copper wire reinforced plate thing just because I have that available here. Just improving a little inefficiency in my system. There's the stitched plates and the stitched plates. All right. So we can get all this hooked up. And that should improve the reinforced plate production. Cool. And that should improve the production of our oscillating crystals and all that. So what I was going to do is this whole area is set up to be our oscillating crystal production. So let's go ahead and put a marker here so I can find it again in the future. So oscillating crystals. And we can go to selection, factory, select. I don't really care about the color. Large icon, infinite range. Apply. I probably should color code those. But so you're getting better at the rocket fuel. You're still blasting off too much sometimes. It's good at up, not so good at safely down. Yeah, no, I can believe that. We should be getting pretty close to being able to get the better fuel ourselves. I should actually check into that. But first, let's go to Space Elevator. And drop off this stuff. I can also get the advanced aluminum production online as well. Come for your YouTube because you're interested on how to help. Okay. I mean, hanging out, watching, that kind of thing always helps. All right. And we got Zoffer on their 115 stream streak. Catch the last 115 streams without missing a single one, so thank you so much for that. Can I destroy that? Nope. I didn't think you could. Alright, and we made really good progress there. We should be good on our next hard drive being all scanned as well. Alright, so there we go. So we can get the advanced aluminum production unlocked. So boom. Oh, I'm missing a little bit of wire. That's easy enough. The wire.
Milestone reached. The resource well pressurizer and extractor can harvest nitrogen, crude oil, and water from underground wells. Nitrogen, being a gas, does not need pumps for pipeline transportation. Fixit does not process most of your metrics, but I do. According to Fixit predictions, you are exploiting this planet with unexpected efficiency. They did always struggle to see the true potential of things. Nothing about you is unexpected to me, and therefore you are performing exactly as expected.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. As a reminder, we do have the no backseating tag. Like, I don't mind stuff like that, but keep in mind I have actually already beaten the game in its entirety with 1.0 already. And so you're going to see me do a lot of things that you'll be like, but that's not optimal. Yes. There's no second part. It's just not the way I play the games. I don't play the games with the goal of being like, let me get peak performance or anything like that. I'm generally of the mindset if a game requires you to get to that level of fine-tuning, it's not a good game. Like, barring if you're playing at, like, some super hard, sweaty difficulty. That's an exception. Like, if you're playing on the brutal, the game murders you difficulty, then by all means, it expects you to perform at absolute peak. But yeah. Like, you'll see me, I won't do a lot of the slide, launch, jump, slide, launch, jump, slide, launch, jump. Did you see the first comment? Yeah, no, I just missed it. You can't really do anything to make you do it, so you do you? Yeah. No, I read the first comment, and that was the thing where I took it as, you know, things to help with the channel so far as, like, supporting and everything, not as backseating. Alright, so looking at our thing, we got the electrode. That's an interesting circuit board. Coal and rubber. I'm gonna grab that one. Because that's an interesting recipe. Alright. Hey, Zafra, how's it going? That's coke, not coal. Yeah, same difference. Half the time I get those, unless we start running into an actual limitation, I usually ignore them. Hey, Kazanir, thank you so much for the raid. I do hope you had yourself a good stream. I believe I saw you playing Satisfactory recently, and you were. But I hope you've had yourself some good streams and all that. Yeah, so we'll get the aluminum. Actually, we think we just unlocked the thing that gives us the aluminum bottles. But thank you so much for the raid and all that. Welcome in, raiders. If you're looking for more stuff like Farm Sim and Satisfactory and these kind of games, Kazanir's done tons of that. So definitely check them out for all that. But welcome in, raiders. I am Rual, do play variety games here on Twitch. Most known for my exploits in Project Zomboid, where I used to hold a world record for the highest kill count run ever streamed. That said, that record has been broken. But we have been playing a lot of Satisfactory lately. And that's just what's been happening. But welcome in. But for today's stream, the things we got on the docket is we're going to be doing from Satisfactory. We're going to be doing a sponsored segment with Business Heroes Street Grub, which is, if you ever played Lemonade Tycoon, it's basically along that line. You run, in this one, instead of running a lemonade stand, you run food trucks. We played a bit 2 days ago, and it was really good. It's just the demo out right now. Can't believe you saw 4 and Def. Can't believe you saw 4 have Def and they lynched 9? What? Wrong channel, I'm guessing? Because I don't understand. Alright. You take it easy. Thank you again for the raid. It was for a game, and you tabbed over here. Yeah, no, I got you. That's the thing, is like, what? Ah, Town of Salem. Yeah. 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 We definitely unlock pretty much all of the stuff that we wanted. Alright. Yeah, honestly, if I unlock the rifle, we can get through there. I gotta check to see. I think we unlocked where we could do the aluminum case, or the aluminum bottles now, which would give me rocket fuel. And then literally that would let me immediately turn around and go to packaged ionized fuel, which would unlock all that. I do think, though, for the moment, let's go with the increased upload speed.
Dimensional upload speed increased. The dimensional shift now no longer cares how complex the components of the original part are, and will save each part as a single collection of particles that can be instanced easily.
Grow shift the body core flow cycle song in the 5-layer shallow state.
I'm working on it, but are you saying there is another layer? Is it a sensor limitation?
Deepen.
Helpful.
Yep, and we got a bunch of hard drives still. Alright, so let's take a look here on what new stuff we've got. Oh, I still need to set my filters to be produced. Just checking out what we've got here. Oh, I probably need to get these heat sinks being produced. That's what I don't already have in production. Do I have someplace easy I can pop that in? Copper sheet and aluminum are not in the same place that I've got right now. So that is a little bit more work. Okay. Okay, so empty fluid bottles are just aluminum ingots, so that's an easy peasy one to set up. Let's see, why do you keep the Mercer Spears and Sloops in your inventory instead of the depot? Is there a strat you don't see? No. The strat is my inventory is near limitless because of just how much upgrades I got, so it's just not something I have to worry about. In a pinch, I'll move stuff to dimensional storage. But, it's also stuff like, I have to pull them out again for the MAM. It's not a conscious decision, it's just, I usually don't worry about till my inventory actually becomes a problem. Alright, let's go back up here where we're doing the aluminum. A bit off target with that, but, you know, running around, exploring a little bit. Let's go under. I know I've already cleared this spot, but going over that, I'm not sure I had quite enough to, Okay. Gotta grab all our gross bits. This is going the wrong direction for the aluminum production. It's fine. Clearing those out so I don't have to worry about them. Because we got all that stuff going in dimensional storage, so ammo, rocket fuel, all that. The only time those things matter is just, you know, in the event that I forget to restock when I'm in the middle of something. Alright, so leading edge production, we've got new things I gotta make. I'm pretty sure some of that's gonna require the blender. We are already making the supercomputer. I don't need to fight these things, they're just kind of going through them as we go by. I have enough of the protein now. Oh, you know what? I need to grab more of the nut things to make more healing stuff. Alright. Yeah, and our aluminum's right here. So, what needs to happen now, and the good news is it does look like the aluminum ingots are doing mostly fine. We should probably increase our aluminum production, but as a temporary thing, I could just put the bottles right off this side here. It'll eat into our casing production a lot, which I probably shouldn't, but you know. That's fine. So those are basically all running at full tilt right now. I could probably toss slugs in to help them out a little bit. Got like 100-some slugs. Let's just go over here to the end. Crank you up. Yeah, and realistically, we'll start hitting limitations on the belt. Because that individually take you 225. You don't have power? Well, okay. I noticed the bar and I was like, wait a second. Maybe don't worry about those. Because I think we did the math the first time around. That's gonna take some while to catch up. Okay, well apparently I just didn't have two of my things fueled. I just noticed that the bar was not the right color. I was like, wait a second. And this is gonna be a problem, I already see it. One moment. Alright. We're gonna drop any aluminum ingots that got in our inventory here. Alright. But so you did notice, one didn't have smoke at the top, but didn't make me think there's no power. Yeah, and there's a little easy, like, the little teeny tiny belts are easy to miss, like, where you have, like, one power connectors off. Like, these ones are a bit easier because it sticks straight off the top. But you notice, like, the smelters are kind of off to the side. So from, like, this angle, I can't see that whole row, so it's easy to overlook it. Versus those, there's not an angle you can miss them. And, like, the constructor's the same way. It sticks out far enough above that they stand out. It's just the smelters I've had problems with that. Alright. Oh, it's not the assembler, it's constructor. Let's not plan to have a lot of these yet. We're gonna go ahead and get the empty fluid bottles being produced. And where's the power pole? And then go to logistics. Probably just a normal size one. I'd probably not gonna need a huge surplus of them sitting just in boxes waiting. Alright. Put it on this side so we still have the like, channel if I need to run anything through the middle. Okay, so we've got the empty bottles being produced. They're going in storage. We get 120 per minute that way, assuming they run at full capacity, which I can't assume. So it definitely looks like we're hitting a throughput issue on the aluminum. Okay, and those are slowly ticking down. And that's just belt throughput thing. We already fixed the belt, so it's going full speed now. Like, it's only staggering because it's trying to all feed onto that belt. It can only do so fast. It'll eventually tick down and we'll be good there. Yeah, so you're going up, so you're good. You're not getting enough pass to keep you running quite at full speed. And you will be. I'm willing to bet I sat down, I did the math when we first set these up to figure out about what is going to need to make them all perform the way we want. You're on tier 5 belts? Yes. This is mostly all running on tier 5 belts already. Alright, meanwhile, that hard drive finished. Okay, so you can do aluminum rods, that's not happening, and the alternate fuse, don't care about any of those. Infused uranium cell versus pure aluminum ingot. Okay. So 30 per minute, 2 scrap for 1. So it's 2 to 1 ratio. What are you? You are 6 to 4. So I get a very slightly better rate from the aluminum scrap to that than the other way. And this one only produces half as much. So it is double the assemblers. But from a material cost, so basically this is we get a slightly worse rate from aluminum scrap to aluminum ingot, but completely wiping out the silica as a material needed for the process. But it produces at half the speed per assembler. I still think we get that, because that would simplify a lot of this. And I do think we also got the other one up here that doesn't produce silica, if I remember correctly. Let's double check this. So you produce silica. Yeah, so that has no silica output. And I'll have to check that. And then that has that, which means silica would be completely eliminated from the entire procedure. Which is a good thing. We can do a lot with that. The downside I'm going to run into with all this is just a matter of adjusting everything and bringing it in. But by removing the silica, that's one less major concern. It's also going to throw off all of my calculations so far as water goes, but honestly, that's fine. Like, for the moment, I'm not using that silica for much else, but there are recipes we have unlocked where we can use silica in it. The question here is, how much does this change when I flip it? Hey, Harry, catch the last 55 streams. I'm missing one. Thank you so much for that. I do appreciate it. So you produce 240, and you can... So you produce twice as much output so far as the alumina solution. And you consume 200 water and 200 bauxite per minute versus 120 and 180. So that's a better ratio from bauxite and water. That's literally just better. Am I missing something? Everything about that just seems better. Like, you get a better ratio of water to the alumina solution. I get a better ratio of bauxite to alumina solution. And silica isn't even involved in the process. I guess we just flipped them all. That literally just looks better. I feel like I'm missing something where a recipe is just hands down, because usually there's a pro and a con. That feels like, I mean, I guess the con could be is if you needed the silica for something. The con is you're no longer getting the silica. Now, it's going to be curious is how that's going to throw everything off. So we're not actually getting the bauxite fast enough now. You look like there's a hidden bottleneck here. Aren't you using silica for something? Yes, the aluminum. And that was the other recipe I got, was to eliminate the silica as a material I need for the aluminum. Also, could be a con is covered by synergy between the two recipes. Yeah, no, it's you need both recipes for them to make sense together, is what I'm figuring what happens. Is like having just one of the recipes ends up being a burden, having both recipes ends up being a benefit. Okay, and that's fine. Get the rest of this out of my inventory. Alright. So, the downside is now I am producing entirely too much alumina solution for my current rate of consumption. So let's go on to the next part of this process. So you're consuming 240 per minute per each of these. Yeah, so it's 480 we're consuming. And we could be potentially producing... Oh, they're 1-to-1 now. That's easy. Alright. Also, there's a lower output of... Emitters? Smiters? Sorry, I'm not... I'm guessing smelters? Okay, and we're gonna take you... and you. Alright, we have to do a minor adjustment here. Cool. You're gonna want to backtrack that for a moment. And I'll put this here. Yeah, so we're gonna massively expand our aluminum production, which should help with a lot of things. So you also need power. Where's the power coming from for what we've already got here? Okay, so that side's online. Bring that way over here. Or are you not snapping where I need you? Okay. Yeah, we got Doppelganger on their 20 stream streak. Catch the last 20 streams without missing a single one, so thank you so much for that. I do appreciate that not only people like enjoying the content, but to such a degree that they come back here all the time without fail. It means a whole heck of a lot. Because you could have been anywhere else, and you chose to be here. And that means a lot, so thank you. Oh, that's not the right one. That's a splitter. I need a merger. There we go, and there we go. Cool. Now the problem we have here is we are overloading the... We're going to be overloading the belt now. Because the belt can handle 780, and we are producing 720 times 2. You can do the math. That is considerably more than 780. Now, what is going to be curious is we're about to change this recipe. Hey, lizard doggo. There's so much to live for, buddy. Like bringing me cooling systems. Keep doing that. You don't need the water. I mean, this is dangerous, lizard doggo. If I could convince you to move, I would. But you probably shouldn't sit at the precipice of non-existence. Not the place to be, lizard doggo. Alright, so here's the catch. Suddenly I don't need any... It's a bath time for doggo. It's an extreme bath. The current at the edge of a waterfall would be non-insignificant, is the way I will phrase it. Okay, so we've got all this going through. So what I need to do is first put a stop to the silica going out to these, because we are going to be switching their recipe over. It's going to throw everything out of whack. I'm noticing my coal belt is not keeping up. The good news is I've got more coal up here, like readily available too. But that's unnecessary because we can double it up to 600. Oh, I think when I first set this up, I didn't have the better conveyors, so there was literally no point in me upgrading them yet. Okay, and the rest are already upgraded. Okay, so that should fix the coal problem. Alright. And these are already running out, which is perfect, because now I can go here, select recipe. I thought I had the other recipe. So we're going to reconnect that now, because apparently I'm just wrong in thinking I had that other recipe. That's still fine for the time being. You think the other recipe is in a different building? Oh, that would make sense. Because it's probably just a, it's probably just the regular smelter, not the foundry, because it doesn't need 2 inputs. Let's double check that, and that might be something we just need to switch over. So that'd also be nice if it was the smelter, because the smelter takes up less space. Yeah, okay. It's just the other one. I was like, I could have sworn I had that. Alright. So let's start switching stuff over. This is going to be a whole mess in the meantime. We can go over here and smelter. Pure ingot. Let's actually pick that up and make that one section. Because I can't see myself meaningfully expanding it. What? Too steep. That's fine, we can make that work. Sure, game. Alright, so I've got you online. And what I'm going to end up needing to do here is I'm going to end up needing to split these off, so I'll have like 2 of those belts will feed into like the first X number of these, and then the next 2 will feed into the next number of them. You get the idea. It's going to take a little while to switch it all over. There we go. Just trying to get down my inventory. Alright, in the meantime, we can go down here, drop the MAM on the ground. Alright, so cooling device using heat sinks, motors, and nitrogen gas. And then rotors I'm not going to make. The rotors are terrible. I don't want those. The cooling device, I really don't know how good that recipe is. So the alternative is we use water, rubber, and heat sinks. 6 per minute versus 5 per minute. The motors are more of a pain than the rubber. The heat sinks, though, it is requiring less heat sinks, and there's definitely an argument to be made there. Well, no, because that requires less heat sinks. Yeah, no, this one just seems terrible. Okay, so you have an alternative aluminum casing. So I get about twice as many out. At a slightly... about the same ratio so far as, well, slightly better ratio for the aluminum ingots. But requiring copper ingots as well. But I do have the copper ingots here. Yeah, so let's see, that's pretty close to 6 times 12. Yeah, no, so it's less assemblers, but basically the aluminum consumption is about the same with a little extra copper. I can spare the copper. I think we take it. The molded ones I know are also good. But that'll be an interesting one, because then I believe we can go right over here. Which doesn't require me to, like, finagle all this again, because I've already got it. But I would be able to potentially... Actually, no, I don't even need a finagle. I've already got this. So I could take this here, switch those over. Aluminum consumption is actually slightly improved. Yeah, it looked like it was just the tiniest niche, like maybe 1 ingot, 2 ingots less for that, compared to what it was before. So that's good. But I should be able to, like, literally just kind of hot swap these. Oh, I already had another MAM right here that we still had sitting here. So what I'm assuming I could do is I can go here, tear that out for just a moment. I'll probably need to tear out 2. That's fine. They're not getting enough ingots as is anyways. So we can tear out all of that for just a minute. This also let me spot issues with my belts. Oh, I didn't think that through. That's fine. I can deal with that in a minute. You lay low for a moment, Bottles. I'll get you switched over yet. Because with that, I should already have the ingots coming in. Yeah, that'll work. So you can go here, production assembler. You know, your hard part's gonna be fitting this in here because it's a little snug. It's too snug. So the problem. You know what? I already know how we're fixing this. This is going to take a quick minute to sort this out. Please tell me you're not absolutely full of bottles. You probably are. You very are. Okay. For just a minute, stop producing. Because what we're going to do is I'm going to move the production of the cases over here. Because then this is already lined up and good to go. And in turn, I'm going to instead put the bottle production on that side. We'll keep those 2 going for right now, so that way I'm not shutting down the process before we got the next thing set up. And that's the copper input. I think that'll be fine. So let's go all the way over. Now you can do here is go assembler, give myself enough space to work. Probably overkill, but that's fine. And then from here we can go to organization. Well, actually... So right now you feed onto that track, so we're going to want to move all of that. That should be fine. Because what I could do now is I could put a stilt here. Alright. Because then what I can do is I can merge this in over here. And that should work okay enough. And that means they'll go to our existing train track, and that should all be fine there. Wrong one. Okay, so when you bring that online, that should be good. It'll do the same thing we've been doing. This is probably one I only need the little box. I think it turned it the wrong way. Actually, no, I'll use the big box. Not because I want the increased volume. But the big box, what I can do is I can pop over here, put the dimensional storage on this part. Slap that in. That gets priority. And then that'll be the outtake. We got enough room we can put the splitter there. And we've got this. Cool. And now we can go down here to that casing. Alright. So with that online, we could shut you down. And then we'll switch the bottles over here. And you're empty? Cool. That actually makes this much easier for me. Alright. And that'll open up some space and do all that good stuff for us. Alright, so that means that shall be hooked up. Now, to get the equivalent output that we just had before, I need 2 of these. Okay, so if we choose that, need a merge block here. It's going to whine about it, but that's fine. Okay, so all that stuff we just tore down, this has the same output as that, with a slightly better rate of consumption of aluminum. And then, you know, we are consuming, like, we're just objectively consuming more copper than we were before. You can drop those in here. Okay. So one thing that is going to happen is I am going to need to split this off into 2 belts. Versus what I've got right now, which is kind of a disaster. And the reason I'm going to need to split off into 2 belts is we're going to hit a throughput problem on the belt itself. Now, I'm going to view the casing as the lower priority, so they're going to get the top belt, because when you do the belts, it will pull from the bottom belt first, and then we'll do the top belt. Okay, so I've got that split up, because once I get these split up, I'm going to need to have 2 belts feeding into that thing. And so we're not there yet. Why has all of the scrap stopped? Your water output is full. Yet your buffer isn't. What? Did the valve glitch? Okay, I think we just had another thing that was the we've had a few weird spots where I'll set stuff up and like the liquid will stop flowing through something, and then I just either like I'll take a section out, put it right back, exact same stuff, and suddenly it'll like kick back to life. So it does seem like there is some weird bug with that. But yeah, so that's good. So that's all coming back online. So we weren't getting our aluminum scrap because the water backed up. Okay. So, before I forget, I want to get the bottle production back online. We're going to put that over here. Eventually, I'm going to want to probably hook that up with a train of some kind. Ah, okay. I didn't realize I'd put it... I mean, I basically forgot I'd put on the same line as that. Realistically, I probably should have the casings and the sheets on separate aluminum lines. We'll see what happens. I mean, I could always just do the cheeky thing like this. Now we're probably not how I should do it, but so I'm going to do it temporarily. Special. And all I did is I basically took both belts back into one where if there's stuff. Turbo Blend Alternative. Heavy Oil Residue. Yeah, so the heavy oil residue doesn't make the thing, but makes the byproducts. Turbo Blend Fuel takes a lot more to make turbo fuel, but makes 45 per minute, as opposed to, what is the current production rate? So it makes almost twice as much, but has the added cost of the heavy and the sulfur. That's probably good, but that looks like it's going to be a lot to set up, so I'm going to ignore it. And the alternative computer recipe means I get a slightly reduced, or a slightly better production rate by about 50%, give or take. But the cost materials, they're up and down, because the electromagnetic, or sort of the connecting rods is considerably higher, and the batteries is more. But then I get rid of the high speed connection thing. Let's choose that one. I might end up setting that up later, but it is an interesting one to deal with. Alright, meanwhile, where are those ingots? Just get these out of my inventory. And drop you in. And all the rest of these are already being fed in there for the most part. That's fine. Okay, so I need to get the bottles back online. And for right now, I'm going to just do like we were doing before. Right where I've already got connections from the splitters. We can go right here to the empty fluid bottle. And the empty fluid bottle. An organization. Yeah, it's a pro and the con with the hard drives. Is a lot of the recipes are hands down better. But there is also a whole thing where you're like, okay, I've got this new recipe, and it throws everything out of whack, and you gotta adjust things for it. Which isn't bad, but it is those things that just takes a little bit of time going, okay, what do I need to do? Alright, so I've got the storage there. We'll put the dimensional storage here as well. That's definitely one I'm probably going to need to get on a train or something. To get back to where we produce our oil. I think one of these trains might already go that direction. Yeah, so for the moment, we're still consuming the silica. We want to get off that. Yeah, so your aluminum casing's out. You are silica in and bauxite in. Neither of which we care about for that. And you're copper in. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. I could see finally getting our SAM into, like, the bigger factory, because, like, we just have that being handled there. Okay, so that's not super encouraging to see all that slowing down. So let's start getting all this fixed to stop consuming the silica and get ourselves switched over, because as you can see, I think it's literally half as much space. Not quite. It is a hair larger than half as much space to do the smelter versus the other thing. All right, temporarily. Oh, I see. Alright, so temporarily... So what I'm struggling with at the moment is how I want to route this, because what I need to do is I need to bring it up here. I mean, I think we're just going to deal with it being a little at a time and just sorting through it. You're not actually on there, are you? Oh no, you're on a seam. That's why it's complaining. That's fine. Why are you not... So they're not showing the guidelines on a lot of these, which is what's throwing me off. It's like, oh, are you actually snapping or are you not snapping? Alright, and your ingot. Your ingot, drop you in. Drop you in. Drop you in. Okay. Cool. So how many of these can I put on? So it's only 30 per each of these. 30 per minute. So the belt can actually handle quite a few of these being switched over. And we can drop off the ingots that we got in our inventory. Okay. Gonna put you here because I'm gonna need even more power. All right. Yeah, so we got 30 per minute, so 30, 60, 90. Right, I filled you up. Yeah, so 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. Whereas these things are producing 60. Yeah, it's just gonna take time, and as I mentioned before, my inventory is slowly filling up with all the crap I'm pulling out of these. But I think the time and effort it take me to reroute all of this stuff, I'm probably best just swapping it out, and then we can just do cleanup on the other side. Because, like, the ingots are easy. I just go over here and say, there's the ingots, have a nice day. Alright. Cool. So that might need to move as well, which is nice and easy to move that along. Because, honestly, all the way until we get to around here, that shouldn't be a big deal to shift it around. And then for the second row, I can easily just put another set of mergers on top of it. Move everything one to the left. Exactly. It's just the way it works. Alright, let's okay, you just go over there. And you go there. That's fine. Let's pick up this conveyor belt here. And we're gonna grab the industrial storage. We're gonna put as far over this way as we can get away with. I think that's the limit. Connect you there. That's definitely cursed, but that's fine. And we could just, for the moment, plug those in. Actually, with the amount we're producing, and get rid of the top belt for right now. Cool. So basically, the reason I went through all that hassle is this way we can move over to this container from the one we're at. Let's just grab that real fast. And we can shift the whole thing forward. And that gives me more room to do all my mergers and all that. Cool. Okay. So get back to what we're doing here. Pretty soon my inventory is going to be full of silica. Which it will be interesting to figure out what the heck I'm going to be doing with all that extra silica. I think the answer is going to be a very low value awesome sink situation. We can deal with that when we get there. Our power pole. Cool. Alright, next online. I'll also need to expand our production of the scrap, but removing silica as an entire process, I think that'll be easier to do. Alright, we had another mini belt there. That's fine. So all that's just gonna go offline for right now, and that I don't really care about. Oh my god, there's so much silica. Low value, high throughput. Yep. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do really lazy about this. I'm gonna put in a storage container. I'm gonna put an awesome sink. I don't care if those are lined up at all. This is a very temporary thing. We've done this from time to time with this kind of thing where it's like, look, man, get this out of my life. Those, gone. Alright. So how are we doing with these? I need to check your inputs. So we've got 60 going in here. So 60, 120. You're not... Let's just not look directly at it. So 120, 240, 360, 480, 480, 540. So we're up to 540. I believe I could say, so let's see. It'd be 540. And this would be 600, 660. And this would put us up to 720. And I can put one more. So I can put two more of these on, and then we've maxed out the belt. That physically, it doesn't matter what my production is after that. The belt's got no more oomph to make it happen after that. The output of the belt, interestingly enough, I've been concerned that was going to be a problem, but it's only going to be at about a half capacity with all this. So I'll do two more after this one. Alright. Okay, that's what the input belt can handle. There is no point in putting anything else on this line. This line's dead. Because until I get a higher tier belt, that's it. 780 is the max this belt can handle. Putting more on there does literally nothing of value. Okay. But yeah, so the input is a limitation as well. Alright. So for right now, you've got a ton of silica in there, and a train that's bringing it in that isn't even remotely needed anymore. So that's definitely something to worry about. You just got your 150th Mercer Sphere. Nice. Okay, so let's see. Do we have enough here to max out the belt? You are once again running into problems where your water output is not working. And I don't know why. Because I should be at a deficit with water. That's the only reason I'm confused, is I should be at a strong deficit with my water consumption. So I'm getting confused. And none of you are running. Oh, you're not running because your alumina is full. I see. And then we can't continue this procedure because our water is full. So we've got the whole thing locked up because both fluids are full and neither can evacuate. I wonder if I could put something over here that's just an absolute water hog. Like genuinely just don't care what the output is. What can I use that can consume a lot of water and then just huck it into the void? The problem is all the things I could think of, they're going to be having their own stuff. Do you have wet concrete? I don't think so. Didn't you change the recipe, or is it something else? Oh yeah, no, we changed the recipe, and so that's thrown off our ratios, and that's what we're trying to do, is fix the water. Yeah, so the battery doesn't use any, the diluted fuel is nowhere nearby, so there's nothing I could do with the blender. Just package it directly into the sink, but that's a fair bit of plastic consumption. Yeah, and that's the thing, is I don't have the plastic over here. Is there something I could do in the refinery worthwhile? Something that consumes a bunch of water that I can get material... Oh, actually, I do have wet concrete. Interesting. That's a consideration. We can do the diluted fuel, but again, the problem is that's not here. Yeah, do I have limestone nearby? Sounding like a no. No, 440 at the bottom of the waterfall isn't what I'd call nearby. Yeah, I know I could package it, but the problem is I gotta bring the plastic in. So my entire intent was to make the operation run at a deficit. Because if it ran at a deficit, then what ended up happening is these would end up waiting on the water, and that's fine. Yeah, so you're basically full. Let's go and pull a slug out of you. Drop your production rate. Because these are 1-to-1 ratios so far as the alumina and all that goes. Basically, the problem seems to come into place when this backs up. Right, and that's the reason we had our valves here. Because without... Well, actually, no, I still do have a valve between the input and the output. That this valve should prevent it from backflowing into the reservoir. Is the water overclocked? It is, and I've been bringing down the clock. Because I want it to be at a deficit. That way, I'd rather machines turn on and off because they have lack of resources than the whole thing seize up and stop functioning in its entirety. But that's the reason why not all of these are getting their stuff through. Oh yeah, and you can just go away. Because you serve no purpose anymore. Okay. So with that, we should literally have a higher amount of aluminum ingot production than we had before. Once things stabilize, we're no longer using silica at all. And while we did increase the consumption we've increased our bauxite consumption. But I don't think we're getting anywhere close to consuming all of our bauxite. I'm willing to bet between the times of the train getting through, like this drains constantly, but by the time it gets low enough to matter, the train's already rolled through and re-topped it off. Forgot those were there. Yeah, so those are running. Yeah, so it should be balanced where this should mostly stay steady. And then when those turn off and the water starts to build up, it should drain there. It's a shame you can't add any logic or anything on the water. Because you're only producing at 240. Because it'd be nice to have, like, again, pressure valves and that kind of stuff that you could actually put some level of intelligence behind it. In the meantime, I've got all this silica. I need to figure out what the heck I'm doing with it. And I think the answer is going to move the awesome sink over to the train station. And temporarily, all that silica is just going to be hucked into an awesome sink and call it a day. Which is definitely not what you want to do in the long term. Because to say this is a bit on the wasteful side is understating it pretty heavily. That's fine. Alright. So we can take care of that for right now. Start moving this conveyor belt that's carrying everything over. Just gonna fill up my inventory with a bunch of junk. And maybe later I'll want to run a belt this way for some other material, but there's a good chance that might end up being a different train and all that. Alright. Now let's get the rest of that silica dumped over here at the train station and try and get that out of the way. Oh, you're about to top it off, aren't you? That's fine. So it'll empty out. We'll get that all moved over. By now, we should have the second item done on the complete phase 4, probably. I need to get the leading edge online. And the problem is I'm not even working on that first thing, which is a major problem. That's actually pretty inconvenient, actually. The good news is it crushes this as fast as the belt can feed it in, which is 700 and whatever per minute. The bad news, I have several thousand on me. So we'll just go like this, industrial storage, facing this way, plug it in, drop it off. Because I want to get this container out of here real fast. And then from there, what I need to do is I will need to check on the getting that being produced, which is going to be a headache because I'm going to need to improve the rate I'm producing the heavy modular frames. It's going to require me to improve the rate I'm producing the modular frames. It's going to require me to improve the rate I'm doing other things. You get the way this all works. You've seen factory automation before. You change one thing and they have to go down the line and fix all of the things that it broke. Meanwhile, I can drop you in there. Drop you in there. And you. Okay. So we've got all that getting sorted out. Because I actually have a lot of room I could continue to expand this place to. Because the only materials being fed into the system now are bauxite, coal, and water. Water is effectively infinite. Bauxite, I don't think we're even remotely tapping what we could. For the coal, I'm only tapping, I think, one coal node. I've got another one right there and another one right there. So literally, I could probably quintuple the size of this and still not have too much of a problem. Like, I'd need to hit another bauxite node to make that happen. But the big thing is I'm going to need to manage the water better. Cool, so you're gone. Oh, right, I still have all these from when they were outputting silica. So these serve no purpose now. That's another nice thing, is as we're reducing the materials required in this process, a lot of this infrastructure I had to set up isn't needed anymore. Cool. So let's drop this all off. And then for right now, we're just deleting silica. We'll definitely have other things we can use that for more productive than, you know, literal deletion. Okay, so that should at least, I'm hoping that's stable. That's, like, I'm now paranoid about having the system seize up again because of water. And I understand if I brought stuff to make casings over here, I could case the water and sink it. Yeah, so you still seem like you're at a surplus. So let's yank another one of these. Cut your production down even more. Because you output 200 water per minute. Or sorry, you consume 200 water per minute, and you output to 120. So 80, let's see, 80, 160, 320 water per minute cubed is what I should need to make off of these to balance. So you're making 180 and 120. So we should be at a deficit of 20 meter cubed of water per minute. So we should ever so slowly run out of water in the system. Just barely. Just a precaution, I'm just gonna go the whole pipe network and we just slam it all down. Alright. So what should happen here is these machines, some of them should just barely run under 100% because of water. They'll ever so slightly not be able to get their water as fast. Like right now, they're just putting out enough of the output that they're fine. And that's because these have been running shy. Alright, so we should be okay with that. That said, chat, what's going to end up happening here is I'm going to need to take just a couple minute break. My wife should be home about now. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly just take a little break to run downstairs, welcome her home, and toss some food in the oven. It's a thing I do pretty much every stream. It's only about 5-minute break and all that. It is my one big break for the stream. You know, it's only 5 minutes. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be back in just a couple minutes, and thank you again for tuning in. I'm going to play the ads in the meantime, so that way at least you're getting hit with the ads during the break and not while I'm playing. That's literally where I was going with it, Ian. It's like, okay, I know it's not been long since the ad break, but this means instead of having ads in 40 minutes, it'll be almost an hour and 40 minutes the next round. All right, I'll be back in a few. Thank you again for tuning in. And maybe not right this second because I'm doing things. We had a marble meteorite just strike a duck and kill it. Okay. I get it. I get it, Cassandra. You didn't like that duck in particular. That duck in particular was a duck you decided did not deserve to live anymore. This duck, Duckling 11, Cassandra, not a fan. Just really didn't like the way the beak looked. There's something about it just really irked her. You know that wreck? That wreck I mentioned? You might get to keep that wreck. I think that wreck belongs to you. I'll let him know, chat.
Maximum depth reached. Hull damage imminent.
Don't tell him, chat. He thinks we're leaving. He thinks we're leaving, chat. He'll never know. I think he knows. I'm pretty sure he very much knows. Oh, you scared the crap out of me, Sand Shark. That said, ho, that is what you don't want. That is the exact way that trees betray you. Luckily, I always keep my finger ready on shift. What? Where am I? What's happening? I'm confused and disoriented now.
I haven't tried it yet, so this is Strawberry's birthday cake froyo and almond milk.
What's like the ratios?
A third.
Okay. That's not a liquid. I'm gonna need a spoon. I want to drink it, but that is straight up solid. I will try it, but I'm gonna need equipment. I'm also gonna need to pop the top on this. You saw me go for it though. I went to pour it. I'm like, oh, this isn't moving. Okay. Yeah, we're not doing the Royal Ascent one. You have a 5-inch drill if you need it. Goodbye, X-Jack. That was certainly an original entrance. I will give them that much. That was a unique entrance. That's not what I want. Oh, that's sure, I'll take it. Yeah, I totally meant to do that. None of that was an absolute accident. 100% calculated. Okay, resting is acceptable. Go to health, glitter world, and you need immediate medical attention because you're like 20% behind. I'm already dealing with one. They have to wait their turn. She was in a fit of rage. She was really bored. She wanted something to do, and she had a knife. You know, we've all been there, right? Just you get a little bored, and you would just attempt to murder. I can't see the road. No, 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 no. I got hit by something else. I saw the trigger too. And I got... Your jacket... Ma'am, it's green. Just like your jacket. You should buy some. Don't make me go back to my warehouse. You, sir. The Zap. No, no, no. No, come on. Come on. Buy the Zap. Alright, fine. Alright, one moment. You wish stores were this efficient in real life? We're looking for the restroom door. I want to find the restroom door, and I'll make those go to the kitchen. Okay. Oh, none of these are great choices.
No, those are both real bad.
I know. Ah, yes. More things. Any preference on which one you'd be like to subject it to the most?
What I'm gonna invite Obi real quick so he can come help us out.
Sounds good.
Me and Obi played this a lot.
What is that time? All right, and I am back. So yeah, so we got about an hour and 40 minutes to the next round of ads because we did do that ad break. Weirdly, walking in here and putting the light in front is like, what's going on? Everything feels fake. I'm also noticing we got a backlog of aluminum here. We have a backlog of aluminum here. I guess we fixed it because that is a backlog of aluminum, friends. That is a surplus. I'm actually a little worried that that might cause the entire system to seize up again because we're not consuming enough of it. Well, that sounds like a problem that tomorrow me is gonna deal with. Today me wants to go start getting whatever the modular heavy box thing going. You heard me. I used my words. It is kind of nice, like, by all means, even with the way I've been doing this, we are still slowly just dominating the landscape. But it's not like our other factory where the conveyor belts just took over everything. Like, we still got our giant platforms of construction everywhere. Ow. Oh wait, so I need to go where our steel is, not back to main base. And steel is over there. Because what I'm going to need to do is for those frames, well actually before we do that, let's get away from these creatures real fast. And check what I actually even need to make that thing to decide where I'm going to be building it. Okay, so interesting. The alternative heavy flexible frame is honestly probably way better for us. Oh yeah. Do you mind? I'm trying to look at recipes. Alright, back to what we were doing. Yeah, so we got some interesting alternative recipes in here that could potentially do a lot for us. So that alternative heavy flexible frame, that might be something we ultimately do to help with the next thing, because we're still using the regular frames, I believe. So you get 3.75 per cycle, and you give 2 per cycle. And you consume almost 20 modular frames per cycle. Versus you could produce... Honestly, I might stick with the first one for right now because the modular frames are more of my problem. The thing I'm learning is this is not what I need. Hard drive probably done? Yes, the hard drive's done. Yeah. Steel canister or the cooling one. I wasn't impressed with this one because it requires more of the aluminum heat sinks. And those can be costly and all that, so I'm just gonna rescan. Heavy encased frame. 2.8. Alright, let's see here. So we have the first one where I get one heavy frame for 5 modular frames. We get the second one where I actually get, it's the same ratio. It's for 5 modular frames, I get 1 heavy frame. This one, I get a better ratio, a much better ratio. I like this one. This one's mine. It belongs to me now. Okay. We'll scan the next hard drive. Alright, so steel production. So it looks like we can actually reduce our costs on our modular frames, but we are going to bring in more materials, which is likely going to be a pain. Because I don't know what we've got here in the way of limestone. Hey, are we friends? Nope. We're fears. All right. Is that a cave? I don't think I've been down here before. Oh, I probably have. I think there's a slug down here before. Alright. So we make our modular frames up here. And we make our versatile frames over here. And I'm already noticing one problem before we even get started. I have literally no spare modular frames here at all. So that's concerning. And then the rest of the modular frames would keep going down this way. I have another MAM sitting over here that I've forgotten about. And then those modular frames go over here to where it become the heavy modular frames. So regardless of anything... Oh, I'm actually already using the alternative pattern. What was the other alternative pattern? So this one... So we're trading the rubber and the screws for steel pipe and concrete. That actually should be very doable. I think we had limestone around here somewhere. Yeah, literally I've got limestone right over there for the encased, and I've got some right there. So we got limestone right here. So we should be perfectly good for that. Yeah, so we've got the concrete there. We are making the steel pipe, and it's right over there. So what I need to do is bring the steel pipe over here. Which would bring the steel pipe in place of the rubber. And I think that might be the only thing I'm doing with rubber over here. Or was a rubber line I was hijacking from something else? Don't tell me we got this super long connection here. And it's gonna be just for the one thing. Ah, it's literally just for that. What are you about? Oh, this is surplus that I got stuck in the line that I had to get rid of. The good news, I actually have a second thing we're using rubber for. Okay, that's fine. So this connection's going to go away. And this will work out really well because the connection that has had rubber on it literally goes right past the connection that I'm bringing the steel pipe on. So I can just backtrack this all the way to... They can backtrack this all the way to wherever that split happens. And then switch it over. And then already have everything wired up. Okay, so we got steel outputs here and here. This is gonna be the most elegant solution, but you know, things happen. Okay, and you've already got the rubber on that line. How much do I have in my inventory right now? Oh, is it all of that was one stack? Alright, that's fine. Just drop that down there and ignore it. Drop this down there and ignore it. Drop you down here and ignore it. That's fine. No, actually, let's not do that. Okay. Sort of stuff I'm gonna have to clean up in our inventory. Alright, so that's fine. So that'll switch the rubber out for this. And then the other things we'll need to switch out, because the big one is we get rid of the screws. That is a huge win. Because screws are an absolute pain, and it's like half of the game is doing, what can I do to use less screws? So let's check over here. I'm producing screws here. Is that literally all it's going for? Am I literally just producing screws and shipping them half across the map? What? What? That's all they're doing. They're not even going to... Oh, you know what? I think we did have them going up to modular frames previously, and now we're not. Alright. So these screws aren't even needed anymore. So we've already got that where they'll switch up. We have the modular frames, and then we would have the concrete. So... that brings the question, production, assembler. What do we have for modular frame options? We have the bolted frame, and we have the regular modular frame. The bolted frame produces 5 a minute, but costs 140 screws. And that produces 2 a minute, but it costs rods. Normally, I would say rods all day long, but I can do the steel screws, and they're most of the way already there. So what's probably going to happen is this is going to go away. We'll put the concrete line through here somewhere. We'll figure that out. But the concrete line will come through here somewhere. And what we can actually do is we'll go here. And there. Actually, put you over there. Alright. So what I think happens is first, let's fix the modular frames. What I think we'll have is we'll have the screws go over top of all of this. Bring in the screws into this system. Okay, thank you, wifey. I'll do my best. Hey, chat. I've got taquitos and you don't. Unless you do, at which point, congratulations on our shared taquitoism. Taquitos, I don't know. You know where I'm going with this. I have nummy food. How dare. You know why. Alright. What is this mess I've made here? Okay. So weirdly enough, our modular frames appear to be struggling on the... Share with chat? Oh, nom nom. Yeah. So weirdly enough... Okay, this is a mess here. That's what we've got over here. This is just a mess. Alright. So... If I'm gonna switch over our modular frames... Yeah, I think we're making a new place for modular frames. Okay, so let's think this through. So we have the alternative bolted frames, which is going to be the reinforced frames and the screws. We're going to get the screws using the steel production since we can do it much faster, so that'll be good. And then for the reinforced planes, I just need that. So literally over here, I just need the iron to exclusively go towards iron plates. So where I've got all of this here, a lot of this can go away. But let's try to see what I can do to make this less of a pain to switch over. Because you don't know what those are, but you're prepared to try some, thanks to you. Yeah, so taquitos, that's what they look like. Basically, they're a tortilla shell that's wrapped up with something like, it can be chicken or ground beef or whatever. Sometimes cheese or corn or other stuff in it. So kind of a Mexican-ish dish. It's like a snack normally. Think of it like a taco without the lettuce and tomato, put into a spun up and then fried. Okay, so these are producing as fast as they can, but the recipe isn't very fast. So I think the first step is going to be taking our constructors that are making the rods offline. Because I should have more than a surplus of rods already in the system. Please don't tell me this is where my dimensional storage is for this. I'm pretty sure it's not. Okay. Put you back in here. The moment, do that to get the plates caught up. Alright. So we have removed the rod production entirely. And you no longer serve a purpose. And so that is going to slowly drain the number of rods we've got. That's fine. Let's plunk down our MAM. Okay. Heat exchanger and steel cast plates. So the steel cast plates just gives me a higher throughput. I have no shortage of iron, so I'm not that interested in that. But the heat exchanger is an interesting one. So right now we can do the copper and aluminum sheets, which also take copper, at a rate of 5 sheets, 3 copper sheets, to make 1 for 7.5. Or we can just go very heavily into the casings as an alternative, which the casings produce more efficiently from what it looked like, and I could be wrong about this, and then rubber. We have just massively reduced our rubber consumption, so we might end up making those when I need to expand. And we got one last hard drive. Alright, so you're still doing your thing, you're still doing your thing. We have increased the throughput of a lot of this stuff. Okay. So, we are using... Oh, I have more things making modular frames. So it's not just the 2 over... Ah, right, you're making the sheets, and then the modular frames are happening over here. That's right. Alright. So ultimately what I think we want to do is I've got my smelters over here. Let's go ahead and drop down and upgrade all our belts and all this stuff, so as we scale up, we don't just immediately run to another problem. So we go to production, Mark II, upgrade that. All you sluggos, get in. Overclock it to the moon. Drop all you sluggos in here. Do that. And we can go here and upgrade it. Yeah, so 240, 600. That should just a little bit overwhelm the belt. Not but much, but that should overwhelm our belt just a little bit. Because we can handle 780, and that's putting a little over 800 on it. Okay. Alright, and with that, we have increased the throughput on the smelters a great deal. We need to upgrade all these belts, because these are going back to when I had, like, tier 2 belts. We set this up forever ago. Alright, you can see where we've upgraded stuff over time as we had needs. Alright. So with our new setup, I don't need to produce screws, I don't need to produce rods, I just need iron sheets. Or iron plates, whatever you want to call them. Literally, that's the only thing we're going to need to produce. So all of this crap can go away. I just need iron plates. It would be nice to be able to keep this lined up the way it is, but that's not going to happen. So, where I have this splitter here can go away. We're going to let this backlog a bit. And what I'll start doing here is, as things start running out, we'll start moving stuff around. Honestly, you know what we're probably going to do here? I'm just going to get resources one by one and awesome sync them out of existence. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, so I got all these things, most of which I just need to get out of here and out of the way. And to spare my inventory endless amounts of pain. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. I'm just gonna put a little... You seriously aren't in soup? Did I turn that off at some point? Have I not put down a foundation this entire time? That doesn't sound right. So, organization... Dimensional storage, we can go like this, go like that. And honestly, I've got a ton of stuff that's just piling up. All that encased steel, the rods. Honestly, most of the stuff we're just gonna go ahead and drop right on in there. Except for the stuff that's a real pain in the butt to make, like the computers and all that. We'll keep those. There we go. So we're just gonna dump that out of the system. What we can do here is, as we see stuff that we can get shifted over. Yeah, so you're slowly running ourselves out of these. We can grab that belt out of here. That belt's already been cleared out. Yup. Yup. Cool. Basically, as I'm exhausting stuff in the system, I am just moving it along. Okay. So we're going to dump all the rods out of the system into the awesome sink and just let it do its thing. Because I'm just trying to clear up space, and I don't want to just pull it all in my inventory and have a big headache with it. But yeah, so all these are going to go, and I will go to this side, and I'll make all of the iron plate stuff over here. Yeah, because then I can keep expanding that way. And actually, let's make the iron plate go this way as well. And then we can have the reinforced plate after that, and then the modular frames down here. can go ahead and remove the actual thing there. We'll definitely want to expand that. Okay, you pulled in the last of those ingots. Alright. I need better belts for this. I'm just trying to funnel everything out. I saw that one. Okay, just trying to funnel everything we can out of the system real fast. There we are. Alright, so I'll get all of the rods out of here. Then we can get this out of here. Then go on to the next thing. This is the screw production, which is all backed up. Actually, with you not getting your reinforced plates in any timely manner... Alright, we just need to start tearing stuff apart. That's just where we're at. We need to start tearing it apart. And whatever ends up my surplus will just drop in the box of the awesome sink. I'm going to avoid tearing open the boxes themselves, because I already know my inventory won't handle it. Okay. These are the inputs for the ingots that we no longer have. Because then what I could also do is, with all this stuff, is I can just delete the outputs and just shove all of that into the awesome sink and let it drain. Alright. Normally I like to get the new thing set up before I tear apart the old thing. In this particular case, I'm just in a situation where I'm like, no, in this scenario, there's not really a reason to try and preserve what I've got here. I'm going to be replacing it to be such a dramatic difference. Yeah, so that's going to be one we're going to want to sink in directly. Let's see. You do like that you're able to figure out which part of the line as the old section. Belts. Section of belts, stock and splitter. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely takes work to get to the point where you can just identify and like look at and be like, hey, I can see that, you know, this very clearly is slowing down here, but the other side is rocketing out at full speed. So there's some bottleneck here. But that definitely takes playing a little while and being like, wait a second. So you start noticing it. Alright. So that's picked up. We got the MAM ready. Okay. Alternative quick wire stator. Interesting. The quick wire stator, so it's 8 per minute versus 5 per minute. And it costs 1 more steel pipe and quick wire to make the stator. Stators end up being a pretty big copper sink. I'm going to go ahead and skip that one. Alright. So you're compact? Yes, you're compacted coal. I don't really care about producing those that much faster. We don't go through enough. I guess so this one will get the pure Caterium ingots, Which my assumption is that's just going to be a higher throughput than the other ones. No, actually it's a slightly reduced throughput, but it's a slightly higher efficiency. So instead of a 3-to-1 ratio, it's a 2-to-1. That's fine. We'll take it. And with that, though, I have nothing more to grab from that, but we can get our... Alright. I forgot to get the hard drive. I've got 2 spare hard drives stored in a box, so I didn't accidentally use them so that I could unlock those things. Alright, come on. And honestly, these aren't going to run anymore, so go ahead and take those out. Okay. And that's where modular frames have been going. But we'll need to adjust all of that. Okay. So yeah, so we still have the rods being emptied out, and then we got the screws. So with this, though, we've been emptying it out this way. You can take that off, let it drain down, and we'll get this all sorted out. Alright. And you've almost got this place cleaned up enough that I'll be able to go through and start fixing everything. It's going to take a little work because I do have to import. Yeah. I do have to import some stuff to make it all work. So I can drop the rods, drop the reinforced plates, drop you in here, the screws, the cased, the rotors, the steel, the steel, the steel, the ingots, you, the copper wire, and the rest is all stuff I'll worry about later. Okay, cool. Yeah, so all that's getting dumped into the awesome sink. I'll just try carrying this by hand. Drop it in this box real fast. Box is full, I was afraid of that. But we could still probably make this work by running over to this box and start dropping in there. Because I want to get this out of the way. Because it's like right in the middle. Okay. Now I just got this one area that's off to the side, cleaning itself up. You're full. Of course you are. That's fine. Alright, so. What needs to happen here is I do not care at all about any other types of production going on. Because you are going to make iron plates and nothing else. And you are producing 30 ingots per minute, and you consume 30 ingots per minute. So literally it's a 1-to-1 constructor to smelter relationship. You get out of here. So if I add a smelter, I add a constructor. Yeah, so you have 5. You have 6. We can add a splitter here. Okay. And just like before, I'm going to go right here. 1 tile ahead. Drop you in. And get all the iron plate stuff set up. And then after that, I want to start bringing the screws in. I can bring the screws in at a rate of 780 screws per conveyor belt. There is a chance I might have to run multiple conveyor belts along the way. If I do, I do. It's like kind of a good problem to have, but also kind of sucks. But, you know, it is what it is. Hey, Felix, how's it going? Felix, sorry. Oh, hey, upgrade you. Alright. So now iron plate, iron plate, iron plate, iron plate. Cool, so we've got a bunch of iron plate coming in. This dimensional storage can get out of here for right now. I just need to remember that I need one. Yeah, so this is definitely going to get all screwed around because I'm cleaning this up to be more expandable later. And honestly, with the splitter there, I can go that way with these as well. But you get the idea. So the next step of what I'm going to need to do here is I am going to need to... Alright. We just need to remember I've got to drop... Where that belt is down there, I need to get the modular frames down to that general area when we're done. So next up, I'm going to need the assembly building. I'm going to give it a little extra space. Because what's going to end up happening is we'll have this here. But then I'm going to have, over top of this, our screw line coming from the other side. Because you're going to be making the reinforced plates. So plan for right now to have those there and there, and I'm going to need more than one of them, but I don't know how many yet. And you're still emptying stuff out as fast as you can. Okay. That's annoying. It's fine. I think this is the first time I've ever done this, but we can go faster. Okay. So we're doubling the rate, we're burning through the stuff in the awesome sink, just to try and get this box emptied as fast as possible. So it should genuinely be decreasing at a fairly rapid rate now. Alright, but with that said, while we wait on that, here's our screw line going in there. We get that set up. And I realize I need screws and all that, but they're just not in the right place. I'm just like, you know what? Let's just move it over. So we've got the screw line coming in. So, what I think we could do for the screw line is something a little interesting here. That's going to be hard to do a splitter on it, isn't it? 1 second, we'll move it. So what we could do here is go to... Where are you at? Logistics, the hole in the floor. Put that there. Or bring it up to about the right height. And I can put you right there. Bring you straight across. Get rid of that stilt. Put you down. Pick all this garbage up. Alright, so you need to scooch. Ow. Come on. It's fine, I'll deal with that in a moment. Okay, we can go way over here. Okay, so I need to put the assembler back down. It was too close before. Yeah, so I'll have to make this platform wider. It's too close before, so it wasn't gonna fit the way I wanted to. Okay, so get the assembler here. Let's give myself a little bit more space this time. Because it's not like I'm ever worried about running out of space on the map. It's just not a real or valid concern. Cool. So for now, I can go over here. And scooch this up enough that we can get the reinforced plates producing well here. So we have those. We can go to organization. This is probably one we actually do want a big box because I am going to use a lot of reinforced plates. Okay. And then when these empty out, that's when we'll be good to get the next thing. Drop all that crap in here, drop this in here. Okay, so just emptying those boxes. Alright, so we've got this to feed the screws in here, and you can see I put the system right across there. In the meantime, that means I get my belt for my screws. I bring that across. And I go right there and lower that down and plug it in. And screws are in place. And just like that, we are producing our reinforced plates again. Okay, I was going to, like, turn the whole thing, so I knew I had plenty of room to work with it, but that's going to probably crowd me later if I have to really scale this up. So I'm just going to keep expanding this way, and notice I have to have, like, the conveyor when I drop it down backtrack to go to my versatile frames. Okay, so now we have production, assembler. And this means a third of the screws will advance on to where I need them for over here. Let's go ahead and put that there. Put you here. Here, 1 second. I want to line that up better. Hop over here real fast. And over there. Alright. So you can go right up the middle here. I'm trying to think of the best way to orient this. Probably the way I need to do this is have this shoot right up to here. And connect it there. And then line that up. Delete this. And that lets me get that to set up here. And then you'd go the other way. You might need to scooch over, though. I do really like to make it line up with where this pops out, but I think in this particular case that might be a mistake, just because I'm gonna have to do like a little squiggle in how I get all that set up, and I probably don't want to do that. Okay, so grab you and you, then go to assembler here. And just move enough in front that I know I don't have to fight with the connections. And with you, you now get to be our bolted modular frames, which are going to absolutely obliterate our screw production. And this is where things are going to get complicated, where I might end up needing to have... It's a catch-22. I might either need to, A, bring multiple lines of screws over, or B, bring the bars themselves over and then make the screws locally. I'm going to opt to just belt them over, and it might just end up with a wall of screw belts, which, you know, is kind of interesting in its own right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put you back down here again. Enough room to put a merger in there. And we'll put back our dimensional storage, because I need that. And then what I'm going to do here is go to logic, plunk you down right in front here. You don't have power, do you? I don't remember what... Oh, that still was just so I could line stuff up, right? That's fine. A lot of this is going to go away. Okay. So with that, we are now making the modular frames again. So that's good news. So now I just need to wire this up, and then we got to scale it up. So, the modular frames were coming in through this path here before. Bring that over here. There. Good enough. Okay. And with all that, we're finally at least back in business. I'll chuck a stack of you in here to get them out of my inventory, and you in here to get them out of my inventory. And modular frames are back online. Now it's a matter of seeing what it can do to improve a lot of these things. Cool. Alright. So, you are receiving... I don't know how close you are to receiving enough. Okay, good news. So the belts are backing up. So you're doing 60 screws per minute. You're doing 140 screws per minute. We're not going to be able to scale this much up without getting a second belt involved. That is what it is. But in the meantime, just because I shouldn't scale it up much doesn't mean I'm not going to scale it up at all. So I quickly add a bit more of all of this here to up my reinforced plate production. Then I need to put the merger there. What's up? I'm capable of eating cookie cake. I will trust your judgment. Jim was like, that is a mistake. Yeah, no, it's while I was at the grocery store, everything was just wild and just like I mentioned it earlier in the stream. So for the people who don't know, I'm in Central Florida and we're right about to get nailed with a hurricane. Like it's not a question mark anymore. It's just we're about to get nailed with a hurricane. And where I'm at, we're in a perfectly like the joke I have is if it floods where I am, there is no longer a state of Florida. You got like a little speckle of a panhandle, and then you got like a couple of islands. And so I hit up the grocery store, like we've got emergency supplies, but you know, like the nice to have stuff. Wanted to catch those up. And so I ran by the store, and it's always kind of a joke that when you go to the store right before a hurricane, the stuff people grab really tells you that people don't think through at all disaster preparedness, because some of the stuff that runs out first is stuff like milk and eggs and yogurt and that kind of stuff. And you're like, you do understand you can lose power, right? And all those things that need refrigeration, they're gonna have very short lifespan once that happens, right? Like, I do get it for, like, you know, people who've got, like, a newborn, they're trying to get, like, an extra day or whatever of having, you know, milk available and all that. But you're like, but it's not gonna help you. Once the power goes off, whether you got it this week or last week, its shelf life's gonna be real short. And there's things you can do to extend it and all that and whatnot. Like, I'm not saying it's, like, all doom and gloom. But generally speaking, the things you want to be stocking up on right before a storm is bottled water. That is a huge one. And for the record, people do actually do good about the water. But otherwise, it's stuff like batteries and first aid stuff and all that. For half and half over the... Surprisingly, I didn't even think about it, because I was going to make the joke to Tomb that's like, oh, did you need half and half? It's in stock. I didn't even think about that, in a pinch... Yeah, no, if it lasts longer... The thing is to keep in mind, does it last longer without refrigeration? Because that's the real stickler, is the lifespan of products greatly diminishes the moment refrigeration is gone. It lasts a month or more with power? Yeah, I have no idea the lifespan of something like half and half once the power fails. Alright, so hopefully, yeah, we're getting enough screws in here that this should catch up. Alright, meanwhile, for our iron plates, are you going up or down? Because that's what I gotta watch. Instead of watching it this way, I've got 5 of these, so that means I'm making 100 iron plates. And you are consuming about 90 iron plates. So we should be at a surplus of 10 iron plates per minute. But as you can see, even with the screws going absolutely full bore on that belt... Oh, they're not going full... No, actually, I can't really tell, honestly. Alright. Ah, it's not upgraded. That explains a few things. Okay. So the rest of that's all done. Okay, I was like, man, there's no way I'm hitting the capacity of that belt yet. Like, I fully expect to hit the capacity. It was just like, hang on. Something's not right. That hit capacity way too early. Yeah, it's still a tier 4 belt and we need a tier 5. Alright. So the good news is, for the moment, it's holding. And we'll know if we missed a spot if I run along here and then suddenly we start seeing a gap in them. If I start seeing a gap in them, it means there's a section of belt that slowed it down. And then when I got past that, it sped up again. Okay, so we're good. So that probably should be plenty of speed going through all that part of the system. Alright, so we're going to change your recipe over to the heavy encased. Thank you.
You're welcome. No.
Love. It's probably like a sixth of it. A fifth, a sixth of it. Something like that. Okay, so we need the steel pipe and the concrete. The steel pipe is here. Weirdly not going... Oh, there's like a singular unit of rubber. Here, we can make that work. Because here's the trick to fixing that. Turn it to that, it pulls the unit in, and then switch it back. And so that shall go. We could drop this stuff in here. I'll drop that down there. Drop you in there. Drop you in there. Okay. So, now comes the last belt. So this belt's gone. It's not needed anymore. Get it out of here. What I need to do now is bring the concrete over here, and then we can get the heavy modular frames going there. Now, I should have concrete already producing over here for the purposes of making the encased industrial steel. As you can see, though, I'm making at no meaningful speed. We need to change that to a meaningful speed. Oh, wait, you're a merger, not a splitter. That's not right either. One moment, it has to be rotated. Okay. We get the merger to go in the way I want it to. We can just grab you, drag you way over here, grab the merger, line up with the rest of that, get rid of you. Get this out of the way. And this is going to be another one of those ones where it's going to get cursed tiny segment of... Oh, it is a splitter I need. Don't mind me. I'm convincing myself of things that aren't true. Okay, so just like that, we've got this popping over. Ah, so we were actually at a deficit on our concrete before. So I'm going to have to fix that. But we'll fix that in a minute. So the catch here is I can drop that down nice and easy. But I need to bring that concrete all the way over. And then somehow get it down to the level where I can get to this machine. I may genuinely, literally just put a... I'll show you what I'm going to do. So, right here is the lineup we're looking at. It's not the cleanest, but it will do. As the conveyor wall grows. Alright, 4. Okay, so our concrete production needs to be addressed. So we're going to start by just expanding the whole thing. So you're already a Mark II. Max it out. So 240, you're going to jump up to 600. So the good news is that is a pure node. So at least of all the nodes I could have been trying to utilize, that's about as good as it's going to get. There we go. All right. Okay, so you're pulling in 45 each. So in reality, I can put a bit over 10 on here before we So 10 I can definitely do. Is it like 12 is when I hit capacity? But I put them so close. Oh, what? Ah, it wasn't straight before, and then I turned it to straight and right. Yeah, so I don't want this to be straight because it isn't actually straight for the lineup. I was like, wait, I should have plenty of room for this. And we can go to select recipe, concrete, drop that in. So let's get a bunch of these all hooked up. You're already connected to the next pole, so I don't need to worry about that. Alright. And we can go ahead and choose all of you on concrete. Because we're about to massively increase the amount of concrete we're consuming. Alright. I think you lined up there. And with that, we will be able to boost all this. And if you're wondering what all of this is about that I'm doing right now, I'm not making enough modular frames to really supply the heavy modular frames I need. So we've changed the recipe we're using for modular frames to massively improve our output. But I'm happy to take the time to go through and fix all that. Okay, so you need to be boosted up and up. You're already upgraded all over here. Okay, so we've massively increased the throughput here. Let's see, this organizing thing is exhausting. Instead of redoing everything, you ran mad spaghetti on your main floor to clean stacked storage bins on the upper floor, where there would be the first train station tomorrow. Yeah, no, there's a lot of work that goes in. So for 450, if we multiply 450 times 12, that'll be 450 plus another 90. Sorry, 45 times 12, I mean, not 450. But it'd be 450 plus another 90. Would put us at 540. I can do 13. At 13 of these, that's when I can no longer sustain it on the drill. So we're just gonna go ahead and max that out. Because I'm not gonna do anything else with that limestone. So let's see here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 4 more. Your factory has the cursed overhead of spaghetti, which you're planning on dropping the ceiling to hide everything, doing a drop ceiling to hide everything. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, you kind of accept you're going to make a mess, and it's just a matter of like, what you do to hide your messes, to make it something that you don't mind as much. Okay, so basically what I'm doing right now is we're putting the maximum number of constructors that drill can handle. If I put another constructor on here, literally the last constructor won't get any material to operate. Then go here, concrete, put the limestone in. Why not make the mess into a feature? Well, that's the thing. Well, that was kind of the meme that happened with the first factory I did when 1.0 dropped. Is most of the factory looked really well organized when you looked at it, but then to run everything like between the buildings and from like the various ore nodes back to the factory and all that, I just had like the spaghetti of conveyor belts jokingly in the basement. They're these giant monolithic towers for each of the ore types and all that. But then below it all, there was just nightmare fuel of unimaginable spaghetti. But it looked really nice when you looked at the upper floors. Okay, so we're all connected. And you're all operating. All the poles are green. So basically, that is as fast of concrete as it can produce off of one ore node. Like you see that belt go on absolute speed. And don't get me wrong, you put add like somber sloops and all that in here to help it out as well, but I don't think we're even remotely at that end. But these should all run at capacity without a problem. And if I added one more, it'll struggle. What I am surprised by is with all that concrete production, that these still are only barely starting to get any fill up here. Meanwhile, let's drop down here and follow this over. I'm really hoping this doesn't consume that much concrete. It's 20 per minute, so that should be fine. It's definitely going to be our modular frames that's going to be our bottleneck, which is both expected and kind of what we want. So, the screws are going at absolute full speed, I am noticing still. Okay, no, they are pausing briefly from time to time. Okay. And you are getting stuck waiting on the reinforced plates. And these are all running at capacity. So we should be producing 15 reinforced plates per minute. And you are consuming them at about 15 reinforced plates per minute. So that actually is balanced. But in our particular case, you probably want to overdo it. That way, eventually, these get ahead and turn on and off as needed, and, you know, all that. Okay. Go all the way over here in the end. And then we'll check the inputs on here to see if any of these are falling behind. We should be good. I was going from the other end. It doesn't really matter, but I want the belts to look consistent. Oh, that's not what I want. Not the stitch plates, please. This one, drop in a stack of both. Alright. And you're all hooked up. Where is your power at? There you are. Cool. Alright, so we should be producing more reinforced plates than we consume on this side. Alright, so you have 280 screws being consumed here. And then we have another 300 screws being consumed there. So we're at 580 screws being consumed out of the 780 our belt can facilitate. So I could, in theory, add one more of these on here. And then we're starting to push the limit of what our screws on that current conveyor belt can handle. That if I want to do more, I will need to run a second belt of screws, or I will need to switch from running the screws over here to instead running the steel bars over here. Sir, please stop merging in my floor. I have few rules around here, but one of those rules is to obey the laws of physics. Okay, and meanwhile for you, bolted frames, drop those in. Cool. Alright. Don't tell him that next thing you know, he'll start a fire underwater. You can have fire underwater. They're chemical fires, but you know, it's still fire. You can even have actual fire and water. That's a thing that happens in Ohio on a regular basis. The river catch fire. It's because there's all sorts of crap in the river, but you know. For all intents and purposes, someone said that water is on fire. You wouldn't be like, no, you're wrong. You'd be like, nah, if I were to describe that, I would say that water is on fire. Alright, so I can probably help this along by going like this. Because I actually put those reinforced plates in dimensional storage elsewhere. So to get it to start sustaining it, I just slammed those in real fast. I can probably do the same with the screws too. We just go to our inventory, drop a stack in here. All right. That's fine. Okay, so that should be good. We have likely, if remembering correctly the difference, we have more than tripled our modular frame production. And it should be sustainable as it is. Which in turn will increase our versatile frame production, which is good news. And in turn, we are getting some. We can see like one going over here, getting all the way up to this machine. And that is going to increase our modular frame, our heavy modular frame production. I'm going to go ahead and drop the Zoops in here. I called them Zoops. Somber Sloops. Those are entirely different things. Zoop is where you can like make a row of platform or whatever. We'll drop the Somber Sloops in here to get the production of those bumped up. And then with all of that, we could finally go, I was doing something with those, and I think it was making... Where are you at? Where's the thing we're looking for? I'm looking for the thing I was gonna build. There we go. Okay. Alright, so we need the aluminum casings, the heavy modular frames, and then the... whatever, the gas. I understand. So we have the heavy modular frames, and the good news is we actually have the heavy modular frames going into multiple locations on the map right now. So I've got heavy modular frames here. We're also training it back to the main area, and then I have the aluminum casings back at base, and I'm also training those over someplace else. So that gives me a lot of options of places I could set this up. So then the big question comes, where's our nitrogen gas located? I should probably should have pinged that from back home. And why am I doing it that way? I can go from here. Resources, nitrogen gas, unclaimed. I could zoom all the way out here. So, I'm literally seeing only one single spot ping on the entire map. Which is interesting, because they very clearly see that there's more nitrogen gas down here. Got a water geyser over there. Okay, so I've got 3 nodes that show up. I've got one up here where I already am. Well, that's the one clearly I'm going to use. And then I got like one way down here. And I've got another one that was just over here. So we're going way up here. Off of the shore to the far north. Can I tell to put one of those on my map? Could I say, hey, show me this, friend? That'd have been nice. Yeah, it won't let me actually show those. Okay, so we're going up there. I'm just gonna mark that. The radiation symbol isn't anything important, but we're gonna go up that way. And as a reminder, and not too long, I do have a sponsored segment for the stream, so at that point we'll take a break from this for about an hour and some change. We're gonna be checking out some more of Business Heroes Street Grub, which we played 2 days ago. They paid to sponsor the channel for 2 different segments, and I'm looking forward to it. I very much enjoyed our first segment of it. I really, we got to the demo, because it is just a demo version, and I was happy that the game didn't just abruptly end when the demo was over and be like, haha, get out of here. It does look like it's the kind of demo that the way it's going to be limited is just, you'll hit a certain point, there just will be features that aren't available yet kind of thing. So, you're going to be able to have different recipes you can set, say, different people and have the different desires for what they want and all that. You can adjust it accordingly. That's not in the game yet, but you can change the recipes. Oh, I'm pinging it, but it's right there. Alright. So, pressurize the resource. So can I put these on here before they're pressurized? No. That's fine. So with that said, what I'll want to do is get our bigger power tower. But yeah, and then when that segment's done, we will go from there to just checking out whatever we'll do a poll and see if people want to see more of this, more of the trading card game shop game. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah. I should be able to just... Please. Okay. So we can daisy chain that over to the rest of our power grid. Boom. They're already connected to the nitrogen gas. And may the fracking begin. Alright. So, what we're going to need to do is, the good news is this is a gas, so I don't have to worry about, getting all the pumps to move it around and all that. As a gas, I just need to only really worry about, can I fit that much through the pipe? Which is a genuine question at times. Alright, so what we're going to do here is organization. Get that big thing there. Logistics. Our pipe mark 2, which weirdly put itself away immediately. And I will need... Put to this. Okay. Gonna want just 1 or 2 of those things. Then you can put that over there. Yeah, so you two I want to turn around. Alright. Cool. So you're producing 120, 60. Yeah, so they're producing at all different rates. But as you can see, I got a ton of them hooked up. We have almost 600 meters cubed passing through the pipe over there. Yeah, so it's basically peaking out what we can handle on a tier 2 pipe. Now the real catch is going to be, I've got all this way up here, and I have to get it somewhere else. So I need the nitrogen gas, I need the aluminum casings, and I don't remember what the third one was. Oh, the heavy modular frames. So the heavy modular frames are over here. Ish. Thankfully there's no head lift with the nitrogen. Oh yeah, no, that'd be obnoxious. So honestly what I'm thinking we just bring this stuff over here. Alright. You hate big spiders, are so scary, annoying, and disgusting. I occasionally get jump scared by them, which is always a thing. Yeah, so I'm honestly thinking we do here is just right out here in this area. I'll make ourselves a new platform. And just produce it over here. And the reason I'm thinking that is it saves me running a pipe across the entire map kind of thing. So instead I just run a train in here. And it shouldn't be too big of an issue. You have arachnophobia, it still scares you? I mean, to be fair, the cats are nightmare fuel. How am I doing in time? Because I'll probably be switching soon. Okay, got another 10 minutes. So what I want to check is before we go and do all that, like I said, I've got both the aluminum casings and the steel heavy frames. Both are in 2 different places. Oh, and this is one of the only places where I still have belts going across the map, because this is all from before I had trains. It was just our gunpowder production. It's the only remaining one that I've really snaked it across. That I kept saying someday I'd fix, but I mean, that's just how that works in Satisfactory. You always go, well, I'll change this someday. You're not going to. Let's be honest with ourselves. Unless it's something that you really intend to and are forced to in the short term, once it's been there long enough, it lives there now. It's forever. Alright. So we've got our heavy modular frames. Those are being produced over here and loaded up onto this train that just left the depot. So anything on this track is a place where I could potentially snag the heavy modular frames from if I need them. Got motors here. That's the heavy modular frames output over here, which snakes through all of this garbage. And I've lost track where it actually goes. Oh no, that's the stators. So we're not dropping off the heavy modular frames here. Nah, I didn't mean to get off the train. So we do have the heavy modular frames on that train. But so you play in passive. You never like the combat in open world game like this, Factorio with Minecraft. Oh no, that's totally fair. Either passive or there's also ones where there's like you have to aggress them or whatever. Okay, so we do have the heavy modular frames down here. Which I believe is because they're being fed in for our supercomputers. Which are there. And in a large supply, which I love to see. Because I'm pretty sure heavy modular frames are a material requirement for supercomputers. No. And where are those heavy modular frames going over here? There's something they're helping build over here. I just don't remember what. The adaptive casing? That's why. Okay, so we're going to adaptive control units. So, we do have the heavy modular frames back at the main base. That's got computers at it. How am I doing on time? We'll need to be switching here in just a minute. So yeah, so the main base and that far north location... So main base and steel have the heavy modular frames. And there's my waterfall over there. So what I'm trying to do is figure out where our aluminum casings are going. Because those are the three ingredients I need: is a nitrogen gas, the aluminum casing, and the heavy modular frames. And so I'm just trying to figure out, do I need... I mean, I will need to run a new rail to go out to the north. I'm just trying to decide where that train is stopping. Right now, if we have the aluminum casings anywhere near that north end, I would rather have the train stop over by the steel, because I think it'd be easier to get a train in there. Versus, honestly, that main base part is getting a little heavy trafficked by trains. Okay. This has an interesting implication. If this is where I think it is... So we got our computers dropping off here. We've got our aluminum casings here. Okay. Aluminum casing, computers. Alright. So looking at our map, basically, this is my aluminum production, like, up here. So that's where our casings are made. We are shipping the casings down to this location for construction purposes. And then we also have over here is where we make our heavy modular frames. And then we're shipping them down there. So I think the answer would be, since that's where we're trying to go to, the answer would be to like go over this way, like however I go around this or whatever, and then up, basically just go up here to that area, put the big platform up here, we can make the stuff up there, and that'll be useful. And that honestly could be where a lot of our centrifuges and all that go in the long run. Because that gives us a lot of space. It's near water, which is a requirement for some of the processes we have in that area. And then on top of that, it's an area that I've got room to grow and all that. Now, with all that said, that is going to be something we'll be tackling the next time. Let me go ahead and drop that in there to be put into my storage. And the reason for that is we do have a sponsored segment here I need to get into. Which is for, as I mentioned before, Business Heroes Street Grub, which if you've ever played the game Lemonade Tycoon from way back in the day, it's like someone took that game and said, hey, no one's made a sequel or like anything like that for this game. What if we did that? So it is like a spiritual successor to that game where they said, well, here's that Lemonade Tycoon game, but one. You get the idea. So you just opened Phase 3 and opened aluminum while waiting for the train stuff to stock up. Rails, motor signals. Next step, step up production. Oh yeah, no, it's around like Phase 3 and it just gets worse with each phase of just taking your existing factory and going, but now I need that thing I was making before, but more. Like, I need more wire. I need more cable. I need more, you get the idea. Which is a fun part of the game. That's actually one of the parts in a lot of these automation games where people tend to drop off. Because a lot of people building stuff the initial time is one thing, but then scaling it up, there's just something about tearing down your old stuff or tearing down your old stuff or reorganizing and all that some people really love that gameplay, and some people that is just like Nah, it's just like a barrier they have difficulty getting past. So let me go ahead and save this real quick and get this out of the way. But as a reminder, after we do the sponsored segment, we will be back to more of either Satisfactory or TCG Card Shop Simulator. I'll put up for a vote when we hit the end of that. If you are watching over on YouTube, the stream will go down on the YouTube side since I can't switch categories and it work well over there. But the stream will come back up and all that. But give me a moment to start flipping everything over.